Hello everyone. How do you like my Silverado? Pretty nice, eh? Take a look. I learned how to do this yesterday and I got this one put together. So let's do another one today. I think I can do it a little bit better and I can show you some of the issues that I found when putting this together. I had an idea to convert the monster truck into a two-wheel drive Silverado. So this is the one that I bought first time around. The previous color is to the green one. And I thought that what I could do is take the base off of this truck and then use the base off of an 83 Silverado to put in there. The problem is they're not the same size. It's not the same casting at all. As you can see the difference there. So when you go to take this base off of that 83 Silverado and you go to put it on to that truck, well, it just doesn't work. Nothing lines up. Now, I've seen guys online there use this base and kind of section it and put it back together and trim and cut and use this base to work. I wasn't going to do that, so I tried something different. I looked and looked for a base that had the wheels the correct distance apart, and I found this. This is the base from the 52 Chevy panel van. It's a metal base, and I thought this is going to work well. It's got a little lip. It's got a little lip there that I thought I could glue to the bottom. I cut out the back. To fit right in there, and then this is what the truck was going to look like. I was working on the grill. I was working on making another tonneau cover for it, and I gave up. I had enough of it, and I just gave up. So I bought another monster truck and decided that I would go with the four-wheel drive route. So here's the truck. It comes in a 2-pack now, along with the old 56 Hightail hauler. So I bought this. Like I say, yesterday, tore into one. Get this out and show you what I was thinking when I started to make the other one. So the thing about this truck is when you look at it and you look at the bumpers, it's got those bumpers that don't really look like a two-wheel drive truck setup. They look like a four-wheel drive. It's got a cow catcher on it, which you usually don't see on a two-wheel drive truck. And it's got this roll bar in it that, again, is not really a two-wheel drive looking slammed truck. That's a four-wheel drive looking thing, along with the flag in the back. So I thought, I got to figure a way to get this made into a four-wheel drive truck. So I need a base. After looking through several of my four-wheel drive trucks that I had, I found that this one right here has a workable base. So when you look at these wheels, the spacing looks correct when you put that onto the Chevy. So I thought, I'm onto something right there. So that's the donor that I'm going to use for the base for this next one. I think I need to get a new bit there. There's our donor. That's going to be the base. All right. These are held together with just one rivet, so it's a little bit hard to see in there. If you can get your drill right down into the center and hit that hole right the first time, not too bad to get out. Pretty easy. Now, I was thinking, since this base is black, to make it look a little bit better when you look at the finished product once this is all done, I thought that I would strip the chrome off of the insert here, off of the grill, and see how that looked this time. That means this roll bar would be black. Might look decent. We'll try it, see what it looks like. One of the reasons why I wanted to make a truck out of these monster trucks is they've got really nice paint on them, like the premiums, like the car cultures. They've got the tail lights in there. It's a really nice paint job. They've got the parking markers, the parking lights up front. So that was the idea why I wanted to do this in the first place. Other than I really like square body Chevys. Once I got that apart, I had second thoughts. I'm not going to strip that off because this tonneau cover is attached to it. I don't want to take it apart and put it back together. So I'll just have to do like I did on the previous one, and I'll scratch off the chrome plating so it'll glue better, and it'll just have to be what it is. So the first thing that I'm going to do here with this insert is I'm going to cut these tabs off and make those flush on that piece there, and then you can see how that is at an angle. I'm going to cut into that just a little bit to make a flat spot where the base can kind of seat into it, where this can kind of go down and have something to hit rather than just that slope. I found that out yesterday as I was putting that one together. Okay, got that cut off there and kind of got it smoothed off in that section, and then I put a little notch in there, if you can see that. That way, hopefully it'll have something for that base to seat upon and not just be on an angle. That was my idea anyway. So now I can go ahead and work on getting this back into the truck and getting it glued in. Another thing I found yesterday is that it made it so much easier to work with the truck if I got this piece glued in before I started to do any more work, because everything was shifting around in there and wiggling a little bit. Okay, so before you go to glue those in, you just want to make sure that you take and scuff all your surfaces that you're going to put the super glue on, because it'll stick so much better if you've got those roughed up beforehand. Depends on what you're gluing, but I like to use the thick sometimes. This is from Hobby Lobby, but this is a thick glue. I'm going to use a dot of it right here to put that grill back in. There you go. That was not easy to get back together, and I had to take it out of the frame to do it, so I didn't want to bore you. It's down in there now, and now that it's down in there, I just put a little bead on top there, like that, and like that on the sides, and then that will get down in there, and we'll let that dry, and she should be good to go. While that's drying, I want to show you if you want to go for a real finished look with some factory looking rivets. If you find a car that does not have rivets that have a different color paint in them, like this one here on this bone shaker, just with the raw rivets, if you want to sacrifice that car, you can get those rivets out and then drop them into some empty holes like we're going to have on this truck here. So let me show you that real quick. Wow, that's hot. Had to take that offline. It got a little bit more difficult than I thought. But once you get that apart, then you can harvest your rivet. Once you get them cleaned up the way you want, then when you've got a hole, an ugly hole like that, you can plug them with your little rivet there, and you can make it look like it's actually riveted back together. So that was the whole idea there. All right, back to the truck. Now we got to work on getting this base in here. What you got to do is you've got to take this base and you've got to notch it out so that you can fit back in these two corners there with a notch out of it for right there. So you just kind of got to take your time a little bit and work with it and get that to sit right in there where you want it. Because right back there in the corner, when you get this back in the corner, that's just about where you want it for the wheel spacing. So that's what we're going to work on next. So the first thing you got to look at is where that fits in. There is wider than the opening, so you have to shave a little bit off of each end there. And what I really like to use is I like to use the Dremel tool with an abrasive disc wheel on it, and then I just hit it a little bit, just a little bit. Not too much, and then just kind of test fit it. It doesn't have to be perfect by any means. It just has to fit in there, and there you go. You've got it so it fits. It looks like it is even. I took off enough on both sides that sits in the middle. Now the other thing is the corners are rounded, and this is square, so you just got to kind of knock those off. So it doesn't take much. That pad is pretty abrasive, just like so. That way, that's gonna fit back in there when you notch it. That's the next step, is notching that out. And you can see that the notch is just about where those spring shackles come back there. Not the spring shackles, but the springs themselves. It's just about where you have to cut it, just a little bit into those, and it doesn't have to go far. So that's exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna go like this right here, and it's not gonna take much. So I'm just gonna notch that in, and I'm gonna see how close I am. Like so. You don't want to overdo it, because that's how you get more out than what you want. You just kind of test that in there, and that's pretty close. It needs to go a little bit more both ways. So I'll hit it again, just a little bit out. I have to go Then you test it in there again. Where's it looking now? Pretty good. It's gonna be pretty good. Let me see if I can show you a little bit better if I do it like that right there. You can see where that lines up fairly good. So I'm gonna go ahead and notch that out just by eye. I'll be right back. Okay, so just real carefully with the Dremel tool, I went in there and I kind of notched that out the way it's gonna be. Then when I get to a point like this, then what I want to do is I really want to go in there and I want to work with it for the file because I don't want to take too much out. And I know it's high in the middle there, so you can just take that and you can work with it right in the middle. And it doesn't take a whole lot. This plastic is so soft to kind of get it where you want it. As you can see, just that little bit right there made it quite a bit better. So just continue on doing that and get that where I want it to be. Okay, sorry I didn't show all that filing that I did on the screen, but I'm getting older and I got to get that right in front of me to see it right. So there's where I've got it pretty darn close in there. As you can see, pretty good fit. I'll file it a little bit more and to get it in there true as I can. Now for the front. So you can see how far you've got an overhang there. So you're gonna have to cut that back, not too awful much. So I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna cut the Dodge grill off and then see where it fits in there, and we'll go from there. Like I say, I like to use that Dremel tool a lot when I'm working on this kind of stuff. Fit that back in there, and it's a real snug fit back here. Really snug. You can see it almost snaps in. And so it looks to me like I've got to go just a little bit. I'm just going to do it about quite flush with that bumper to begin with and see how that fits down in there. So I cut it off and it wasn't enough. A little bit more. Like I say, better not enough than too much. So I'll continue to work on that a little bit. Okay, so just in the process of going back and forth, I got that back just about where I wanted it to begin with, and then I just kept working on the front till it fit down in that notch that I put in that front bumper. I've got to clean this up a little bit, but it looks like it's fitting down in there pretty good. Right there, these wheels on front are a little bit wobbly, but that right there is how that's gonna sit, and I think that sits pretty darn good. So, need to find a set of wheels to put on it, and I think what I'm gonna use these ones right here. I think those will look sharp compared to what I put on the other one. They're just a little bit different. One's a slot and one's a spoke. Okay, so one last quick look before I start gluing. I think it looks pretty good. I think my spacing looks good all the way around. I think I've got this flush on both sides. I've got it centered. It fits in there good without even being glued. So now I'll take it apart. And the next thing I'll do is take these wheels out. I'll put these new wheels in. I'm gonna have to make the axles because this is much wider than the axle that's in there. So I'll show you how I make the axles. Okay, so these axles come from monoblock, and they are brass and they're very soft. So you can crimp the ends of these easily with just a pair of channel locks. If you get them right on the edge, right there, and then you go ahead and you put maximum force on those, just like that, you can see where you can flatten that out enough that you can put a wheel on it. I've got one here that I can show you. Go ahead and put that wheel on there and it'll spin. It's not going to come off. They don't look bad to look at them from the end. They don't look totally finished, but they don't look bad. So once you get the one end crimped, then you can cut it to length. I'll take these out, see what the length I need is. Then I'll put both of these wheels on and then crimp the other side. Okay, so you can go ahead and you can snip these off just right at the edge there. Snip that off. There's the length axle you're going to need. Take your wheels here, go ahead and snip that very end off so you can get these off. Okay, so when you know where you need to be on the axle, all you do is you just line that up just like so, where the crimp is and the edge. Come around to the other side, and that's where you're going to have to cut it off at. So I just go like this right here, just bring it in, and I nip it right there. So that's what I'm going to need. Now when you do this, if you don't have a lot of axles to burn, don't make the mistake that I have made before and put one of the wheels on backwards. Just go ahead and feed that on there. Take your other wheel and make sure that you've got the right side facing out. Like I say, I've done that before. And then you go ahead, just like I did previously, you just get right on the very edge of that. See what I'm saying? Then you just take it and you put all your force on it, just like that. And there you go. You've got that flattened out. There's your axle. Looking good. Now you can put it in there. Now these are really soft, so you can't force these. You got to put them in there. You got to glue them in good, and they're pretty fragile because they're so soft. Okay, so this is how I do it when I'm going to put these axles in. I take and I open these. I open these up just by putting a blade in there and just wiggling back and forth to get those opened up. That way I can drop these in easily and not bend them. Those will drop in there fairly easily. You got to work them in a little bit. I may have spoken too soon. There we go. There's one. The other one popped out. There you go. Get that in there. That one. Get this other one in there. In there like that. And once you got those in there, then what I do is I take something and try to close these up as much as I can by pressing down on them. Just like that. That way they're in there, but after that I glue them. Just makes it a little bit easier. They don't flop around as much. Just like that. That way they're in there. Got a little bit more play on that rear axle. Not really too happy about that. I might take that out and tighten that up just a little bit. Let me do that. Got a little bit too much play in it, so let me just take and I'll just nip this off real quick. Nip that much off, and then just take and re-crimp it as soon as I find my tool. There it is. Just go ahead, or not re-crimp, but re-flatten that out. Just go ahead and get that right on the very edge. Get it on there. There we go. That should be a little better. Let's see if we can get that in there. Oh yeah, much better. Huh. I'm gonna have to open that back up. You gotta be real careful with these that you don't break those prongs off, just like I did right there. That one's broken. Great job, John. Great job. So that one will sit down in there easily now. There you go. There, that's much better on the rear wheels now. They don't slop around there as much. They'll roll fine. Front ones, there we go. Okay. Then you just want to put it somewhere that it can sit flat. And then you grab your trusty thick power, I guess extreme power thick is what I should say. You go ahead and you drop a couple of drops down in there. A couple drops will do you. Get it in there, and then we'll go ahead and let that dry. And we'll be one step closer to getting the whole thing together. Now also what I do is I just make sure that I take a toothpick and I just get it down there and get it all around those axles. Make sure I got it in contact. That way you know it's gonna stick. There you go. Got all the weight off of the wheels. And now just go ahead and let that dry and we'll assemble. While that's drying, I wanted to show you that I also did make a two-wheel drive version out of that monster truck, 56 hightail hauler. What I used there was I used the base off the Ford Lightning, and then I had to sand the bottom of it flat to get it to where I wanted it. Does roll. This was kind of a pain to put together. I'm not completely happy with it, but was something fun. I probably pick different wheels next time when I do one of these. But kind of neat, kind of you know, rethinking the old 56 hightail hauler. Just thought I'd show you what I did there. All right, here's an old by the way for you. These Monster Truck Silverado bases that they sell on eBay. Save your money. They are worthless. Let me show you using this one here. Okay, here's your base. Now you tell me how this thing's supposed to be worth anything. It's got the holes in there for the wheels. It doesn't have channels to put them down into. I saw that and I was just like, you gotta be kidding me. What junk? So just to let you know, I wouldn't waste my money on that. So here we go. I've got the wheels and tires on it. Let's just give it one more fit in here before we decide to glue it together. I think that we're good. Let's take a look at it with these wheels on it. Oh, she's beautiful. She is beautiful. Looks good, doesn't it? I think it looks real good. This needs to go in just a skosh, I think. So it goes running downhill just a little bit. There you go. I think that looks good. All right, let's glue it in. Let's glue it in place. So this post there does come down into that. So I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on that. A little bit of glue right there. And then the other glue is going to be right here. And I usually put it on both sides when I'm joining something together, just to make sure that I'm going to make contact just right. So I've got the center of that part there, and then in the corners also. Around the side on there. I like this glue from the Hobby Lobby because it does not seem to ever turn white on me, which I like. You can get it in there a little bit more than you can some of the glues. That you have to be more careful with because they turn white so bad. No, wait a second, I better do this as well. You get it right in there as well, where it fits in that little notch right there. Okay, That should be all that I need. Now let's carefully try to fit this in here. It fits in there awful snug. I think we got it on the front there. Get this down just a little bit. I think we're good. How's it look? Looks pretty darn good, doesn't it? Front look good. I think it looks good. Okay, let's get that and make sure that we're at the right. I think that looks pretty darn good. Okay. Oops, I pulled it out. Not good. All right, let's let that dry. Okay, so we've got this glued together and we got it dry. As you see, I put the rivets in there. Looks pretty good and finished. Put something on there. What do you think? Kind of a quick and dirty. Did this truck 2 days in a row. I kind of learned some things on the first one that I fixed on the second one. Let me know what you think in the comments. As far as doing a truck twice, the next one that I'm going to try to improve on is this one here. I found the base that will work for this matchbox. I'm going to try a little bit different paint and see what I can do to make this one better next. But best thing about coming down to the basement and working on these customs is you forget about all your troubles, you forget about work, you forget about what's going on in the news. There's no politics, and you just kind of immerse yourself in thinking about this truck right here, and it's very enjoyable. That's why I like doing it. If you like the videos, let me know. Got any suggestions, leave a comment, and I'll see you all next time. Thank you. Bye.